Be sure to go to flipsidegaming.com and use promo code 6 for 10% off on orders over $10. You can do the same at the Grizzly Gentleman for some fantastic beard products that'll make your beard look and smell great. You can also go to TCG Player using the affiliate link below and shop there to help support the show. And last but absolutely not least, go to greyvikinggames.com with the link below to get those sweet arena codes. What is up, Planeswalkers? Theric 6 back with some more arena news, I suppose. We got some pretty cool stuff here. This is the state of the game. I did not expect this to be out on a random... Gosh, it's Thursday. But yes, here it is. I'm also going to talk a little bit about some Jumpstart Historic Horizons cards, in particular that I find particularly interesting. I said particular multiple times because I've had a lot to do. Anyway. So yeah, we're going to go really quickly through the state of the game Jumpstart, kind of talking about the highlights that I care about. One thing, it looks like they're modifying the back end a little bit. My hope is that this is to essentially make it so that new launches are less buggy, and hope that like connection issues are a lot less of a problem. They've been fine for the most part from my experience, but then again, I am not the mass of people that do actually play Arena. So I do think that this is pretty cool. One of the things that this is the type of thing that I'm talking about in terms of communication. They could have omitted this paragraph, but they kept it in, right? They have to make a early August season and a late August season. To the rank reset, who cares? Both seasons will have full normal rewards. And then, of course, they do the Mythic stuff, which I don't care about, because I never make Mythic. But the fact that they're saying, like, unfortunately, we have to do this thing, we have to split it up just because of the way we're doing this back-end stuff. But, in compensation, essentially, you get to earn bonus, like, double rewards, essentially, right? Because, notice, the Mythic players being reset to Diamond 1 and all other ranks being maintained. Which means if you're able to get to, Platinum... Wait, is Diamond after... I think Diamond's after Platinum. Look, I don't rank very often. I just play the game. But if you're able to get to a relatively... I guess Diamond would have to be after Platinum, you idiot, because Mythic players get reset to fucking Diamond. I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. But it means if you can get to one of these high ranks, you can kind of coast if you want to for the rest of August and still get those rewards, which I just think is really cool. I really appreciate this. And one of the things that I find important is I will trash Wizards of the Coast constantly for their awful, terrible decisions as a company, especially with regards to Arena. I have to give them respect as well when they do things that I think are good. I think doing this and announcing it is good. This, who cares? Historic Horizons, cool. We're gonna get a thing. They talk a little bit about how this works out. They have like multicolor packets. This is the cost. I actually don't remember if this is the same cost as other Jumpstart, but who cares? One of the things, and I don't remember. Keep up only prices part of the deal. This is just this is just this thing that I don't care about. I couldn't confirm this, but someone on my Discord mentioned that when you're given a packet, you will always be shown at least one pack that you've not taken. You're given 3 options to pick from. We're also keeping track of all the packages you selected. At least one you're offered is something you haven't selected in a past run. Yes, so up until the point where you get all of the packets, at least once, you're going to be shown at least one packet that you haven't selected. This is super helpful, especially considering like you're also getting 3, a choice of 3 instead of just 2. Like you think, one more choice. That is huge, actually, for playing the types of games that you want to play. It's possible that it might make this Jumpstart environment a little bit samey. I forgot the EDH word I use here. It might feel a little bit more samey, a little bit more stale, a little faster, but I doubt that's going to be too much of an issue. But yeah, the fact that they're making sure that we're going to get offered up until we at least get one of each, I think is very helpful for people who do want to play this, because I definitely want to play this. Jumpstart was very fun, but I also want the cards, so I think that's pretty good. Blah blah blah. So it says about 220 cards from Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2, about 120 other new to MTG Arena reprints, and I'll talk about some of them here. And about 400 returning cards. In a change from the prior Jumpstart, all returning cards that are already on Arena are using their existing versions. So essentially what this is doing is, instead of adding, right, so I'm trying to think of a Jumpstart card. Mire Triton, I believe, was in one of the Jumpstarts. So right now there's Mire Triton Theros, Beyond Death, and Mire Triton Jumpstart. Instead of doing that for this, it's just going to be, oh hey, Mire Triton's already in the game? This is just the version we're going to use. So that's awesome. You remember how I said I will trash Wizards for every terrible decision they make? They still need to make a modification such that there's only one Mire Triton, and you can select it and choose essentially as a card style if you want the Theros expansion set symbol, or if you want the Jumpstart set expansion set symbol. That way, only one card is ever in the deck builder. Because damn it, it annoys the crap out of me. But yes, so that's cool. Wow, what they do. They go over some of the digital only mechanics. I think I talked about this at some, maybe. I don't actually remember. Perpetual, it just lasts. This is very similar to Skullbriar. I have no real issue with this generally. Conjure, Conjure's the more risky one, I think it was. Seek, yeah, Seek is essentially like very slightly modified tutors. These are functionally identical to like the Collected Company, right? If you look at Faceless Agent here, 3-mana 2/1, when it ETBs, seek a creature from the most prevalent creature type in your library. So instead of this being like Mini Company, where you have to like look at the top, let's say 4, and you get to choose 1, you're guaranteed the thing. Like, yes, technically it's random because you don't get to choose, but technically Collected Company is random. You do get to choose, but you have to choose from a very select thing, and you only have so many choices. So I find Seek incredibly fine. Perpetual fine, Seek fine. How about Conjure? Conjure has the most, the highest ability to be screwed. When there's specific conjures, like Stormfront Pegasus, doesn't matter. Those cards, absolutely fine. They're functionally the same as Garth. One-Eyed? Sure, Garth, who cares? They're fundamentally, I don't care. I'm going to speak how I speak. Identical to Garth. Again, these are essentially just like glorified specific tutors. Tome of the Infant, on the other hand, you conjure a random card. People are very upset about that. Technically speaking, they haven't gone directly into how exactly Conjure works. I'm going to go upon the assumption that this is purely random. So obviously this is just, there's no choice here. But many people are comparing this to a Hearthstone mechanic. I haven't played Hearthstone in years, so I can't remember. But essentially, like, you have a selection of 3 cards, you choose one of those, right? I don't believe that's how Conjure works here. My assumption, truly random. However, it is bounded randomness, which Magic essentially, like, so many people are very upset. I'm getting on my soapbox a little bit, I apologize. So many people are getting upset about the Hearthstonification of Magic. Magic has always had randomness. In fact, it has inherent randomness that Hearthstone does not have. In that, you have to have a mana base. Technically, yes, there is skill involved with your mana base, because you have to make a decision on how frequently you need to see what number of lands at what percentage on what turn, right? So there's some leeway of skill there. But at the end of the day, it's still random whether or not you draw enough lands, or too much lands, or not enough lands, right? And kind of like linked to that is the fact that you don't know when you're going to draw the cards of specific mana values, right? If you have, again, there's skill, you have to have a certain curve, but you might draw your curve backwards. Now, again, yes, this is potentially mitigated by mulliganing, but even then, that system, is super random. I can't remember Hearthstone's mulligan system. I also don't care enough to look it up, but I do play Legends of Runeterra a lot, and Legends of Runeterra system allows you to keep some number of cards and then redraw randoms. In Magic, you have to redraw an entirely new hand, right? So it's technically a lot more random than Runeterra system. All of that being said, I'm not trying to make comparisons, like upwards or downwards comparisons between any of these games. I'm sorry. 1 second. Sorry about that. My cat was being a menace and jumped onto my second desk, which has a lot of cards not put away because I have a lot of things to do. A lot of stuff going on at once. A lot of strings. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is that the conjure mechanic, one, doesn't affect Magic as a whole. Only affects specifically historic on specifically arena. And two, it's really not adding all that much randomness when you consider all of the specific cards and the mana system. The mana system in this is uncontrolled, essentially. It's full random. Mostly full random. Things like Hearthstone, Legends of Runeterra, Duelist when it was alive, Rip King. Those have a static progression. You always know when you're going to have what mana. Now, you don't know when you're going to have what CMC cards, but that is, I'm still saying CMC instead of mana value. It's hard. That's why I still say EDH instead of Commander. But yeah, I think too many people are being derogatory towards this mechanic. One, without even playing it, and two, like, blinded of the fact... Cat, please calm down. Blinded by the fact that there's a bunch of other randomness already in the game. So that's... whatever. Whoop-de-doo. They talk about the fact that it's digital only. I think it's cool. I like the fact that it's digital only. You have Pioneer in paper. Why do you need to have Historic in paper? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I've said this on a tweet, and I'll say it again. One of the best, in fact, in my opinion, the best part of Magic is the fact that the rule system is structured that you can have essentially infinite number of formats. You can't exactly do that the same with other online CCGs, right? Hearthstone, you can do a bunch of things, but fundamentally, the core of the game kind of limits it. Same with, I mean, this is, for what it's worth, I'm not as engrossed in Pokemon TCG. Frankly, I think it sucks. I really don't like the treasure system. And then the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. But in those games, right, how good is multiplayer in those games? How well could you make a Commander-like format? Obviously, it wouldn't be Commander because the whole, like, entirely different game system. But, like, how many formats do those games have? How many formats does Magic have? For what it's worth, I understand that Magic attempts a lot of formats, and many of them die unceremoniously. But that's more of an issue of players' willingness to adopt formats and put time into them and maintain them, instead of, like, abandoning them at the first sign of any potential disuse. So the thing that makes Magic great is the number of formats. And since we have a digital-only system, or digital-only format, we should play to that format's strengths by doing all these wacky things. I think this is fantastic. People who hate this, like, don't play Historic. Like, that's the thing. You don't have to play Historic. If you really hate the fact that we're getting digital-only cards that are too random and Wizards might change instead of just banning, which I think is the best thing to do, is just change. Like, if they print cards that are, like, okay, for example, let's say Wingsteed Trainer, right? I know it's an uncommon, this is actually probably fine for its mana value, but whatever. Let's say Wizards was like, you know, Wing Steed Trainer is seeing like 0.001% of play. We expected it to hit like 0.1 or something like that. Some whatever. I don't care. I'm making up metrics. They could slightly modify this card by maybe giving it one more toughness. You know, it'd be Pillar for the Locks plus. Would that necessarily change things? I don't know, because I can't predict the future. But what I do know is the matter of fact is that they can change these cards. Hopefully only for the better. But they can nerf cards if they're too good. Although I will say they should give wild cards whenever they make negative changes. The issue is like who determines a negative change, so there's a gnat. And this is the best thing. 100 card Historic Brawl, Q. That's it. We've won. I mean, it's not, a lot of people would be like, no, we need Commander on here. Historic Brawl is fine in my opinion. I do personally wish that Brawl at least had since it's 100 cards now, I wish that it at least had a 30 life total. 40 might be too long for 1v1s, but I would like to have a 30 life total 100 card format. That's essentially just because, like, I like to be greedy in 100 card formats. I know it's just me, but shut up. So, you know, sometimes aggro a little too good. We're getting the first sliver. This is sick. We get to play with slivers. I love it. What I do want to point out... I don't care. Wait, did I see this somewhere? Ah, here it is, yeah. We'll be taking a similar approach to some perpetual cards. We're starting by banning both Davriel's Withering and Davriel's Soulbroker in Historic Brawl, and we'll be keeping an eye on the rest of the effects in Historic Brawl. So essentially what they're saying is, we recognize that cards like Davriel's Sting, which I think is up here, yeah, could make it so like, oh no, I can never play Thalia again, right? I'm just using Thalia because she's a great example. You know, I cast Thalia on turn 2, on my opponent's turn 2, Davriel's Withering it. She permanently is a 1/-2 creature. Cat, calm down. She just wants to like run around and stuff, and I'm chilling. Come here. You want to be in the video? Come here. You want to meow for the good people? You want to meow? Lay down, please. Lay down right there. Okay. Everything's better. Cat jumps flying. Just calm down. I have to deal with this constantly. Okay, yeah. So that's the announcement. I really like this. This actually feels like some sort of change. I would like to know a little bit more about like what exactly this is meant to do. It's just essentially like it's stability. But I would like to know specifics. But I think that this is a from the recent state of the games, this is one of the better ones because it's not just new cards, right? It's you know, giving us a play queue, addressing some of the issues with it, letting us know information. I think it's good. So let's talk a little bit about some cards. I'm going to start here. So I'm not going to talk about all these cards. I'm going to talk about some of them. Long Tusk Stalker is very interesting. This doesn't just give itself +1 perpetually. It gives another thing +1. Like, you play this on turn 1. Turn 2, you attack. Pay 2. This becomes a 2/1. This is, for what it's worth, this is also just 2 energy, right? This is not even, like, there's no mana for this, right? Like, you pay, like, 2 for this. Maybe you played a haste creature on turn 2 as well. You give this +1, so it's attacking for 2. It's essentially a 1-mana 2/1. And then something else in your hand gets +1. Oh my gosh! You know what I'm gonna do next turn? Play that that bigger creature. Maybe it's the Gruul breaker person, Gruul spellbreaker. I don't remember the orc woman who kicks everyone's butt. Or this is just like full energy and like you're just playing stupid energy stuff. This card's awesome. I expect, because I still see a little bit of Voltaic Brawler here and there, so I expect this to see some cool play there. I'm afraid of this card. I am 1000% afraid of this card. This allows you to discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. For each non-land card discarded this way, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. This is a 3-mana 2/2. Now you might be saying, Theorix, this seems fine. What's wrong with this? One, this could theoretically go in just like elementals if you really want to. Two, and more importantly, this goes into Phoenix decks as additional ways to get rid of Phoenixes already in your hand. Yes, I understand technically we do have Faithful Clothing, blah, 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 who cares? But this also gives you chump blockers so that you don't die to aggro before you can get your Arclight Phoenixes out from nowhere. Additionally, if this is just in your graveyard from, I don't know, discarding it with a Faithless Looting, and you have excess mana lying around, you can exile this at instant speed to make 2 1/1s. That also happen to be elementals. I am afraid of this card. Another card I'm afraid of, Managorger Phoenix. 2-mana 2/2, can't block, who cares? Flying, once again, a 2-mana 2/2 flyer. Whenever you cast a spell, if Managorger Phoenix is in your graveyard, put a flame counter on Managorger Phoenix for each red in that spell's mana cost. If Managorger Phoenix has 5 or more flame counters on it, return it to the battlefield and it perpetually gets +1/+1. So I'm making the assumption here that the flame counters go away when it returns to the battlefield, because it doesn't say that it has perpetual flame counters. It just says you put them on there when it's in the graveyard, and if it's not perpetual, moving from a zone should cleanse that. And it perpetually gets +1/+1. So where you're just essentially slinging multiple pipped, like burn, like red deck wins, like just red deck wins. Maybe honestly, you have a Managorger Phoenix in your graveyard, right? Let's just say you have one. You can play another Managorger Phoenix and a flashback Chain Roller. Flashback, not the, you all know what I'm saying. Chain Roller, and bada bing bada boom, it's back out and bigger than ever. Horrifying, utterly horrifying. I'm afraid of this card. I love it. Hardened Scales? We're bringing Hardened Scales? Alright, this is sick. This can go into a modular deck, like this can be like Hardened Scales Affinity, because we are getting a lot of modular cards, which I'll look at in a second. But also, this just goes into the Abzan or green-black or green-white token strategies. Right, like turn 1 this, turn 2, Conclave Mentor or the Snake Winding Constrictor, I think is what it's called, maybe. Turn 3, tokens galore. Just all the tokens everywhere, all the things. This is sick. This is like a deck in Modern, or at least it was last time I checked. Or maybe it was Hardened Scales Affinity Pioneer? No, I don't think so. Doesn't matter. This is a good card. I expected to see some play. Static Discharge. This is absolutely hilarious. Deals X damage to any target where X is 3+ the number of charge counters on it. Then put a perpetual charge counter on this. And each card in your hand, library, or graveyard names that discharge. So essentially, this is very similar to, gosh, what are those cards called? I literally play the blue version that draws you a card. It's the mechanic where, like, do a thing, do the thing an additional time based on the number of thing in graveyard. There are some of them in... Okay, Rune Snag's an example. Jeez. Rune Snag. Which I think would be pretty cool in Historic. Anyway, it's like Rune Snag, but better. You know what's really cool? Returning this to your hand and casting it again. Flashing it back. Notably, it doesn't count the ones in exile. Important to note. That said, this has to be decent to burn, right? Like, it is just a sorcery speed lightning strike. But that's just the first one. Right? The subsequent one is 4, and the next one 5. It seems good, man. Seems good. I don't think I cared about any of these. I think it's cool that Yawgmoth's here. This is hilarious because it gives you reassembling skeletons in your yard. This is just funny. I guess I'm happy that it's not 6 mana, but it really should be 3 triple black. Maybe if it had like black regenerate, that could justify it or something, but This would be cooler if it was like actually 3. This card is understandable that people are upset by. You're literally just like spinning the wheel. Discard a card, create a token that's a copy of a random creature card with mana value X. Like this ability only uses sorcery. This is essentially, oh, it literally is. I'm just now seeing the art. This is Momir Vig, I think. This is literally a nod to the format Momir Rig, Momir Basic, which started out as an online only format because it had to be. So no, this card's fucking fine. It's an homage. Thank you. Another fight card that's cool. Sure, I don't care. I don't know what this is. I also don't care about Kiora. 4 mana, 4. Okay, only pluses. And then, well, I see a Kraken, and his -3. Okay, that is a little frightening. Oh, wait, I can click this. Conjure a Kraken hatchling in your hand. Kraken hatchlings are like, I think a single blue for a 0/4 Kraken. Untap target creature or land until your next turn, prevent all damage that would be dealt to and dealt by that permanent. Okay. Okay, I mean, sure, whatever. She's so thick here. Anyway, you may sacrifice a Kraken if you do... Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. No, that's kind of cool. You're like, you're raising the Kraken to be a bigger Kraken. No, okay, no, this is cool. This is cool. It's a fun card. It's a very fun card. This conjures Tropical Island. I honestly do not care. I don't care. Here's some conjure stuff. There's this cool like Sarkhan dude. Also doesn't have an ultimate. Conjures a Shivan Dragon. Sure. Can make your dragons cheaper, which is also pretty cool. I assume this stacks. Perpetually gain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that stacks, so that's kind of cool. This is another effect that has to be digital only. Technically speaking, this could not be digital, but keeping track of turns is a nightmare in paper. Yeah, it just deals damage into the number of turns you have begun to target creature planeswalker. So based on the number of turns that you've had, that's how much this deals. Maybe this sees play in like a Brash Taunter control deck, in addition to, you know, the Comet Storms or whatever it is. That's an interesting place. Obviously, this does not target face, which I think is important, because if it did, it'd be busted. Perpetual, like, fire breathing, that's cool, honestly. I am glad that it's a higher costed fire breathing, and it doesn't touch the toughness, so it can still die a horribly painful death, but whatever. This is utterly hilarious. I'm pretty sure this is going to be in Commander, which means, like, some creature Commander decks are going to get just screwed. It's like, oh, you have a creature that you want to attack me with? Nah, base power's 1, or base power 0. Kind of talked about some of these already. Thalia's Lieutenant, we get more human stuff. I think that's awesome. I really hope we don't get Champion of the Parish. I'm afraid of that card. Am I a coward in many instances? Absolutely. This is fun for white weenie decks. I just like this card because it references Phyrexians. I think it's very cool, but I'd rather have Defile, frankly. Defile is just cooler. I mean, it's a 3-mana 4/3 demon, which is pretty sick. And then this is just, garbage for the Death Talk decks. Whatever. Anyway, this is the Rummaging Pack, so there's going to be like a Madness theme here, so we're going to have some cool discard stuff, Madness. Most of these I don't think are going to see play. Hey, look! A card that we should have on Arena already. Hey, remember earlier in this video when I said I'm going to just call out Wizards whenever they do dumb stuff? Hey, man, if only Flameblade Adept was in, I don't know, some sort of set like Amonkhet that was remastered and put onto Arena. If only a card that people played was put back in the game. Oh well, guys, it takes up a new slot here. Garbage. I'm upset, but I am at least glad that this card is being put in. It does make Boros Cycling deck stronger, which does make me scared. She's meh, in my opinion. I don't really care too much. This is Sliver, whatever. This card, I think... No, it's not this card. This card, I think, was very good in Limited. I assume it'll be good in Jumpstart, but not actually Historic. Don't care about that card. Don't care about that card. We already have Lightning X. Insolent Neonate, it's still a play in Standard, if I recall correctly. And I think it's seen play in either Modern or Pioneer. I don't remember the differences at this point. Because, you know, instant speed discard, it sounds weird to say, but it's free discard. You do have to sack the Neonate, but, you know, it's a 1-mana 1/1 menace, like, who cares? And you get to draw a card. I guess, you know, it's also a vampire, if that matters. I think these children are vampires. Yeah, the little kids are vampires. Is this vampire? Oh, maybe Vampire Splash Red. He said, absolutely lying. Yeah, I don't think there was anything else that really sees... Oh, Fiery Temper. Fiery Temper is probably pretty good in the Phoenix decks. My main thing... Yeah, my main thing is, like, at this point, how do you balance the cards used to discard and the cards that benefit from being discarded or in the graveyard? I don't play Phoenix, so I don't have to deal with that issue. Woohoo! Salvaging, this is just different looting. And then the rest of this, who cares? Hardened Skills, I already talked about. This little sacky dude, I don't think it's very good, but, you know, whatever. Serving the Scale, very similar. I don't care about it. This might be interesting, but I thought... No, I guess not. I thought there was a card in Ikoria that did something similar. But possibly not. What is nice about this is it can potentially come down as a 2-mana 1/4, but fun fact, if you played Hardened Scales on turn 1, and then this on turn 2, it comes down as a 2-mana 2/5. That blocks a long time. Also, it's cool art. I don't remember giving crap about that, although I guess it's like, it's nice. Because it allows you to draw a card potentially, like, for one. It's just for a single green mana, because it counts all of the counters, not just the number of creatures with the counters. So that's, you know, a possibility. This card's funny, but I don't care about it because it's not +1/+1 counters. This card, I don't care about that. This card I actually think is pretty interesting. The main struggle here is the fact that this costs 5 mana in a deck that is ostensibly an aggro deck. But I think you can still make a good Abzan version that wants to be more mid-range. Maybe not like full mid-range. Still wants to have those aggressive starts, but have some creatures that gives you some longevity. And what's really nice about this is that you are making your creature bigger. You're getting another creature. And one of the potential issues with the +1/+1 counter decks is you have a struggle between, like, putting all of your counters in one basket or spreading them around. You can get screwed over either way. But with this, you don't necessarily have to worry about that, because the 4/4s that come out are pretty decent, and if they just, like, kill your Herd Baloth after putting some counters on it, you still have access to the rest of the creatures. So I think this is very interesting. It might just be too slow for Historic. Not new. This card, whatever, reinforces cool, but I just do not care. I guess of import, this is instant speed. So you can pump a creature at instant speed with this. Yeah, essentially, like, you're paying 1 to be able to do this at instant speed. You don't get the creature, but you still functionally get the same power. So, Smell Fear is actually pretty cool. We have a ton of different options for a fight. This just gives you the option to proliferate in a counters deck, which is pretty cool. Scale Up is more of like an infect thing. Technically, it does work nicely with +1/+1 counters, because, like, you have, like, this base power, this 2/2 base power creature with a free 1/1 counters on it, right? It's a 5/5. You turn it into a 6/4, and instead of it being a 6/4, it's a 9/5, 9/7. So, you know, that's cool. And you can overload it, but is it worth the slot? I don't think it is. Don't we have this already? I don't remember, but I feel like we had that already. Who cares about any of those? This is a modular. We might see some more not Hardened Scales. We might see some more Tempered Steel Affinity. I I don't understand this. I really don't understand this ability. I wish that I did. I understand that you can kill your own modular creatures like in response to removal, but it feels weird. I don't know. It feels just very strange. Archbound Shikari, this is pretty cool. It gives a 1-1 counter on all the other artifact creatures you control. Pretty decent in a go wide deck. Just straight up 2-mana 2/2, but it's an artifact creature. It's an assembly worker, which is fun, and it has modular, so that's, you know, cool. A 1-mana lifelink modular creature. Like all these modular creatures, even Archbound Slasher, because of the fact that it can come in with haste, like a 5-mana 4/4 with haste. I mean, you also might consider like kind of just tempered seals in play. Let's assume it. A 5-mana 6/6 with haste is nothing. It's not like anything to write home about. But if it dies, you get to keep 4 of that power, right? Like that's is good. No, it's not busted, but it is good. We have squirrels. Sure. This can just go into token decks, which is cool. Obviously, Historic Brawl is a thing. My man's lost than I. He's also a different like breed of squirrel than these, it looks like. Why are his feet so big? So many questions, very few answers. It's cool, I guess. Squirrel Mob, sick. Just make a fucking army of squirrels and just be like, yes, I'll be mobbing on you now. Do you mean you're gonna attack? I said what I said. Tier Spitter, you get really big squirrels, which is cool. What's nice is that you may sacrifice a token. You don't have to. What's also nice is this doesn't have to be a creature token. It doesn't even have to be like specifically a squirrel. So you can potentially have ways of making other like ancillary tokens that you can sacrifice to this. It's just generally a cool thing. Squirrels just get real big, and it makes squirrels for you. Like, this card is sick. Verdant Command is really awesome to see. It's 2 mana. Like, I expect this might just be in target from a graveyard. Target player gains 3. I mean, this card is just like kind of okay in many circumstances. Squirrel Sovereign's a Squirrel Lord at 2 mana. So many lords at 2 mana. Zombie still doesn't have one, which is bull. Come on, just black, 2 mana, 2/2 zombie. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. And Death Touch. And Swamp Walk. And Fear. Not Menace, Fear. Cool, more ways to get squirrels. I actually don't think this will be played in the squirrel deck. It'll be played in the Brawl deck, but I don't think that your squirrels are going to be evolving this all that frequently, so this is technically a squirrel. We're getting more changelings. We already have a lot of changelings from Kaldheim. Probably enough at this point that you can make actual changeling tribal without having any real tribe, which is funny, but, you know, whatever. The squirrel is utterly horrifying. You can sacrifice things, which, sure. I mean, you know, it draws you a card and gains you a life, so it actually is a thing. Squirrel Sanctuary is hilarious. Nested Shambler, again, hilarious. It's a zombie that's being driven by squirrels. At least I think that's what's happening. I'm pretty sure they're being driven by squirrels. We already have this card, but it's still cool. Chatter of the Squirrel. I think that's a different version of this. I want to say there's a different version of that, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think any of the rest is interesting. Yeah, even Mob, I don't think is very interesting. Drakekeeper, yeah, whatever. And then the last one, the Enchantment Pack. I don't know why this is so much smaller than the other ones. Very strange. Anyway, we're getting Sithis. Every time I hear that, I think of Sithis from Elder Scrolls. Been playing a lot more Elder Scrolls Online recently. God, I love that game. It's so fun. Cast Enchantment, cool. It's an enchant lady. Whoop-de-doo. Definitely gonna be see some cool stuff in Historic Brawl with this. Starling Grove gives other enchantments Shroud. This means she has Shroud if they're both on the field, which is pretty nice. You could sacrifice this and get an enchantment and put it on top. You can do this at instant speed, so you can essentially draw it, which is cool. Sanctum Weaver. This is Sarah's Sanctum? I think that's the name of the land. Except on a creature. It is a 0/2, but it's, fun fact, an enchantment creature that cares about enchantments. Fun fact, it counts itself. At minimum, this card adds you 1 mana. minimum. Enchantment decks seem decent. I mean, this is just an enchantment for the enchantment gods. Whatever. It gives your creature +1/+1 of flying. Probably helpful. I just do not care about it. Now this one is actually quite interesting because it's a defensive card and an offensive card. You're essentially paying 2 mana, right? The colorless and not colorless, whatever, the generic and the white for a pacifism, and then a single green for support 2, which can help it so that some of your creatures, like I don't know, this don't die as easily. This is fun at shutting down very annoying things, especially like this is going to be pretty good in historic Brawl, even if it's not an Enchantment Matters deck, right? Like this just shuts down a commander, but it is temporary. They can still block, they can still attack, they can still sacrifice it, right? So there are still ways around this, but I'm very glad that it exists. This video took way longer to record than I expected. I got some ESO to play. I have a PO box for sending me nonsense. Once again, thank you patrons for your continued support. If you'd like to join them and support the show, you'll find links in the description below. Wow, can you please stop, you monster? Okay, I have to like entertain this cat for a little bit so I can play a game. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Until next time, I'll be one.